The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the stable yard, where the rhythmic thud of hooves echoed in the air. Sarah leaned against the wooden fence, her heart racing with anticipation. Today wasn't just any day, it was the day she would prove herself to everyone, especially to Jake, her stepbrother. As she watched Bella, her beloved horse, graze peacefully, a strange mix of excitement and anxiety bubbled beneath the surface. In her mind, Sarah imagined herself gliding effortlessly over jumps, the cheers of the crowd ringing in her ears. But reality was much harsher than her fantasies. "What if I fail?" she muttered, her voice barely audible to the gentle breeze. That one thought haunted her like a shadow, threatening to snuff out the flicker of hope that burned within her. She remembered the first time she had met Jake. It felt like yesterday, though they had been together for years now. Their families merging had been unexpected, shuffling everything around. Jake had swaggered into her life with an air of confidence that had both intrigued and annoyed her. She recalled the sly smirk he had worn when they first met. That same smirk that seemed to say, "I've been here all along, and now you have to figure out where you fit." But as the days turned into months, that initial friction had melted into a bond that was anything but normal. Their connection was electric, rooted in shared dreams, whispered secrets, and the occasional bout of playful bickering. Their relationship had become a sanctuary, a place where they could both escape the complexities of life. Today, as she prepared for the upcoming show, Sarah felt a spark of determination course through her veins. The morning sun glinted off Bella's coat, accentuating the mare's beauty. "You and me, girl," she whispered, stroking Bella's mane. "We're going to show them what we can do." Suddenly, Jake appeared, his silhouette sprawling across the stable entrance like a character ripped straight from an adventure novel. "What's this? The great Sarah Hudson? Talking to her horse like it's a confidant?" he teased, amusement dancing in his eyes. Sarah shot him a mock glare. "At least Bella listens, unlike some people," she quipped, trying to mask her nerves with humor. Deep down, she knew Jake had been her biggest supporter, but the teasing didn't help quell her anxiety. Jake chuckled, leaning against the fence, arms crossed casually. "Just don't forget who's cheering for you today. I might be your biggest fan, but I'm also your greatest competitor." "Competitor?" Sarah echoed, arching an eyebrow. "Is this about that ridiculous race again? Loser does chores? Please, it's not even fair," she said, rolling her eyes. "Fairness has no place in competition," Jake replied, his grin widening. "But I'm not worried. You only have to beat me to earn bragging rights. I'm pretty sure Bella's got this in the bag." His confidence and laid-back demeanor did little to calm her. The weight of expectations pressed on her shoulders, and she dreaded the idea of disappointing him. "You don't get it. This isn't about winning a simple race. It's about proving myself," she said, vulnerability seeping into her tone. Jake's expression shifted as he stepped closer, the teasing glint replaced by something deeper. "You've already proven yourself, Sarah. You're incredible at what you do. Just remember, it's okay to be scared. It means you care." His words struck a chord deep within her. They echoed her hidden fears, but also reminded her why she loved this sport in the first place. The thrill of riding, the connection with Bella, the adrenaline before a jump, it was all worth the risk. Despite the competitive edge between them, Jake always knew how to push her limits and ignite her passion. Just then, she caught a glimpse of the barn's reflection in his eyes, and felt a rush of emotion swirl through her. "You always know what to say, don't you?" she whispered, feeling vulnerable yet connected. It felt surreal, standing there with him, the pressures of the world falling away for that brief moment. "Some might call it skill," Jake quipped, winking playfully. But then, in an instant, the lightheartedness faded, replaced by an aura of sincerity that enveloped them. "But I mean it. You're strong, and I believe in you." Sarah felt her cheeks flush, a warmth spreading through her heart. The connection they shared had always been special. But moments like this brought something deeper to light a bond that transcended mere friendship or rivalry. It was complicated, messy, and yet oddly comforting. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue across the horizon, Sarah knew the moment was fleeting. Soon they would race, chaos and excitement swirling around them. But in that moment, they were just two souls connected by a shared dream and an unspoken understanding. It was a blend of fear, hope, and the ever-looming question. What would happen if they crossed that line? Jake caught her gaze, probing for an answer in her eyes. The air between them thickened, charged with anticipation. The unspoken tension was palpable, a mix of friendship and something else, a flicker of longing that neither dared to acknowledge. "Hey," he said, breaking the spell. "Want to practice a little? We can set up some makeshift obstacles in the field." Sarah nodded, grateful for the distraction. "Yeah, let's do it." As they moved towards the riding area, she felt the initial ache of apprehension retreating, replaced by the familiar thrill of competition. They set up barrels and poles, creating a course that tested Bella's agility and their teamwork. With each jump and turn, their laughter filled the air, weaving a tapestry of joy amidst the anxious backdrop of the upcoming show. The sun was beginning to set, casting a vibrant glow over the pastures, and the world outside faded into a blur of color. It was as if time stood still, allowing them to savor every moment. "Okay, last run," Jake called, his voice laced with exhilaration. "Show me what you've got." "Don't get too excited now," Sarah teased, nudging Bella forward, her heart racing with determination. She focused, blocking out the noise around her. The world faded away as she narrowed her gaze on the first jump. And when she soared through the air, propelled by a mixture of her trust in Bella and the encouragement from Jake, it felt like everything clicked into place. It was exhilarating, freeing, and for the first time that day, she felt alive. As she landed smoothly, the thrill of victory surged through her. "How was that?" She shouted at Jake, who stood with his arms crossed, clearly impressed. "Not bad, but just wait until I take you on," he replied, a competitive glint snapping back into place. In that moment, the thrill of their rivalry and the warmth of their connection intertwined, fueling a shared dream that neither had the courage to fully express. Before long, the sun dipped below the horizon, washing the barn in a gentle twilight glow. That day would be a memory, but their bond filled with dreams, fears, and unspoken words would linger like the dusky warmth in the air, a reminder that the adventure had only just begun. An unexpected challenge as dawn began to break, casting soft hues of pink and gold across the sky. Sarah awoke with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Today was the day of the local horse show, and the anticipation twisted in her stomach like a coiled spring. She could still hear Jake's laughter echoing in her mind from the previous evening, and it filled her with warmth and a flicker of courage. After breakfast, she slipped into her riding attire, a navy blue shirt and fitted black breeches that hugged her form, instilling a sense of confidence. She pulled her hair back into a tight braid, catching a glimpse of herself in the mirror. "You can do this," she whispered, attempting to summon all the bravado she could muster. There was no room for doubt, not today. When she stepped outside, she was greeted by a crisp morning breeze that danced over her skin, carrying with it the promise of adventure. The barn was abuzz with preparations, horses neighing, trailers being loaded, and the unmistakable scent of hay and earth mingled in the air. Sarah headed straight to Bella's stall, finding the mare munching calmly on hay. "Ready for today, girl?" Sarah stroked Bella's neck, feeling the powerful muscles move beneath the glossy coat. In a way, Bella understood her better than anyone else did, her fears, her ambitions, and the burden of expectation. "Lookin' good, Sarah," a voice called out, interrupting her thoughts. It was Jake, his bright smile accompanied by a wave. He was dressed in his riding gear, looking confident and ready for the day ahead. The sight of him tightened something in her chest, both anxiety and excitement. "Thanks. You too," she managed, trying to keep her composure. "Just trying not to freak out." Jake stepped closer, eyes sparkling with mischief. "How about we spice things up a bit then? Loser buys lunch after the show? Is that your way of saying you're definitely going to lose?" Sarah shot back, crossing her arms defiantly. "Oh, it's definitely my way of saying that I plan to win, but happy to accept my prize lunch afterward." He laughed, and the sound sent a wave of reassurance her way. "All right, challenge accepted," she replied, her heart racing. It felt good to be back in the game, to embrace the competition, albeit with more than a hint of nervousness hidden beneath her bravado. Once the horses were prepared and loaded into the trailer, they headed to the venue, which buzzed with activity. Bright banners fluttered in the breeze, and the sound of clattering hooves filled the air, creating an electrifying atmosphere. As they got closer, a wave of anxiety washed over her. The crowd gathered around the arena, a sea of faces that would soon be judging her. She felt a knot form in her stomach, tightening with every step. "Hey, breathe," Jake said, noticing her distress. "Focus on Bella, forget the crowd." His steady gaze helped to calm her nerves a bit, and she took a deep breath, reminding herself of what was at stake, her passion for riding, the connection with Bella, and the thrill of competition. She could manage this. She had to. Once inside the arena, the sound of the announcer echoed through the speakers, making her heart race. "Up next, Sarah Hudson on Bella." The words reverberated in her ears, and she felt a rush of adrenaline surge through her. It was time. When the gates opened, Sarah urged Bella forward, feeling the familiar thrill as they entered the arena. The crowd erupted in applause, and for a moment all the noise faded away, leaving only the two of them. Together, they were a unit, one heartbeat in sync. The first jump approached, and Sarah steered Bella confidently, urging her to clear it. The mare sprang into the air like a bird, and as they landed smoothly on the other side, the crowd's cheer echoed, filling Sarah with a sense of exhilaration. As they continued through the course, each jump and turn flowed seamlessly together, fueled by the rhythm of their teamwork and the excitement of the challenge. But just as Sarah began to relax, disaster struck. Out of nowhere, another horse darted into their path, startled by an unseen noise. Bella reared up and Sarah fought to regain control but felt the world tilt on its axis. Time slowed as panic surged through her, and she threw herself forward, gripping the reins tightly. "Whoa, Bella! Easy, girl!" she shouted, trying to settle the mare down. The sudden intrusion shattered her focus, and her heart pounded as they veered off course. In that moment of chaos, Sarah's mind raced with thoughts. What if she fell? What if she hurt Bella? She could see the spectators' faces frozen in surprise, the shock rippling through the crowd like an electric current. But with a deep breath, she remembered Jake's voice, urging her to trust Bella. They had trained too hard for this. She was stronger than her fears. "Let's go, Bella," she shouted, rallying her courage. With a determined pull, she reoriented Bella, guiding her back onto the course. They approached the next jump with renewed focus, the mare leaping gracefully over the obstacle, landing with a poise that felt like victory in itself. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Sarah felt a swell of pride. Jake stood at the side, eyes wide with admiration. "That's my girl," he hollered, the encouragement igniting a fierce fire within her. As the course finally came to an end, relief flooded through her. They had done it. The connection between rider and horse felt electric, a bond solidified in trust and understanding. But as she dismounted, heart still racing, a familiar face appeared, a competitor she recognized from previous shows. Clara, cool and confident, approached her, an unsettling smile playing on her lips. "Nice save back there," Clara said, her tone dripping with mock sincerity. "I thought you might fall off for sure." Sarah felt her stomach twist. "Thanks, I guess," she replied, attempting to maintain her composure. "Just remember," Clara continued, leaning in slightly, "you may have had your moment today, but it's a long season. Competitors come back stronger, and with your luck." "Well," she shrugged, feigning indifference. The venom in Clara's words stung, testing Sarah's newfound confidence. "I'll remember that," she said, forcing a smile. But inside, a cloud of doubt crept in. Was she good enough? Before she could dwell on it further, Jake appeared beside her, his expression sharp. "Don't listen to her," he said firmly, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You're incredible, and anyone who questions that just doesn't get it. You've come so far, and there's no stopping you now." His words washed over her like a refreshing wave, and she felt the encouragement seep into her bones. She locked eyes with Jake, gratitude bubbling within her. "Thanks, Jake. I needed that." Before they had a chance to gather their thoughts, the announcer's voice boomed over the speaker once again. "And now please welcome Jake Hudson on Thunder." "Good luck," Sarah yelled, her heart swelling with pride as he stepped into the arena. She watched intently as he and Thunder made their way through the course. His movements a perfect blend of grace and strength, exuding confidence. Jake soared over the jumps, connecting effortlessly with Thunder. It was a beautiful display. and Sarah felt a surge of admiration for him. She cheered loudly, her voice merging with the crowd's applause, their camaraderie shining brightly despite the competition. As Jake completed his run and joined her again, his face lit up with the thrill of success. "Did you see that? I think I might have a chance at winning today," he exclaimed, laughter spilling from his lips. "You were amazing." "The jumps were flawless and Thunder looked so strong," Sarah responded, exhilaration pulsing through her. She looked up at him, her heart full, but still grappling with lingering insecurities from her earlier encounter. However, before they could bask in their triumph, Clara sauntered over again, her smirk still etched into her features. "Looks like the competition is heating up," she chimed, her eyes darting between Sarah and Jake. "Just remember, shows like this can make or break your season or your confidence." Jake stepped forward, unwilling to let Clara's words dampen their spirits. "You don't scare us, Clara," he said. "We're here to win, not get derailed by unnecessary drama." Sarah nodded, feeling buoyed by Jake's protective stance. "Exactly. We're focused on our goals, not your negativity." Clara shrugged, but the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes gave way to a fragile anger. "Good luck with that," she hissed, spinning on her heel and disappearing into the crowd, leaving the air thick with tension. As the rest of the day unfolded, Sarah felt the highs of triumph mingling with the lows of doubt, the joy of her performance clashing with Clara's harsh words. She found herself caught in a whirlwind of emotions, wrestling with the pressures of competition and the connection she shared with Jake. Underneath it all, a glimmer of courage sparked within her. She and Jake were partners in this race called life, navigating through the ups and downs together. They had each other's backs, and that made all the difference. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the arena, Sarah realized that while the competition would continue, her connection with Jake would always remain a beacon of strength, reminding her to embrace the journey and chase her dreams, whatever the odds may be. The race the following week proved to be a turning point for Sarah. With the local horse show behind her, she found herself caught in an exhilarating rush. The thrill of competition lingered, but so did the pressure of upcoming performances. Clara's words echoed in her mind, a haunting reminder of how unforgiving the world of equestrian sports could be. One afternoon, Sarah found herself in the barn, giving Bella some well-deserved grooming after a long week. The mare grazed peacefully, and Sarah smiled as she ran her fingers through the silky mane. She could feel the bond between her and Bella grow deeper, infused with trust and a shared understanding of what lay ahead. "Having fun?" Jake's voice broke through her reverie as he appeared at the barn entrance, leaning casually against the doorframe. "Just giving Bella some extra love," Sarah replied, glancing up with a smirk. "Not everyone gets to enjoy a spa day like this." "Looks like she's enjoying it," Jake chuckled, his eyes twinkling. But then his expression shifted as he added, "I've been thinking, we should spice things up a bit." "Spice things up? What do you have in mind?" Sarah raised an eyebrow, intrigued yet cautious. Jake stepped inside, his demeanor suddenly serious. "How about a race? Just you and Mius against each other, like old times. We can set up a course across the fields. No holds barred." Sarah's heart raced at the idea. "Are you sure you want to challenge me after the show? You've already made an impressive comeback." "Oh, please," he scoffed. "This is about bragging rights. I could use a little fun after all that stress. Plus, I want to see if you really can outpace me." A competitive spirit ignited within her. "You're on, but be warned, I won't hold back." The day of the race arrived, the sun shining brightly overhead as they gathered in the field. Sarah felt a familiar flutter of excitement in her stomach, reminiscent of the adrenaline rush before the show. The emerald grass stretched before them, undulating like waves, ready to challenge their every move. Jake stood beside Thunder, his trusty mount, looking like a seasoned champion. "So what's the course?" he asked, gesturing toward the scattered obstacles they'd set up. "Barrels, jumps, and a few natural features like fallen logs and tree roots." "I say we start at that tree line, weave through the barrels, jump the fence, and finish at the old oak. First one there takes the title and the loser does chores for the week," Sarah proposed, a competitive glint in her eye. "Perfect. Let's see how it goes." Jake grinned, his bravado infectious. They mounted their horses, hearts racing, as they positioned themselves at the starting line. The surrounding field buzzed with energy, the birds chirping as if cheering them on. Sarah glanced over at Jake, his calm demeanor somehow fueling her ambition. "Ready?" he called, his tone teasing yet serious, as he shifted position in the saddle. "Always," Sarah replied, her determination solid. "On 3. 1, 2, 3!" Jake shouted, and they were off. The world melted away as Bella's powerful strides propelled them forward. The rhythmic thumping of her hooves synced with the roar of adrenaline racing through Sarah's veins. She focused on the course ahead, the wind whipping through her hair like a banner announcing her victory. But she could feel Jake right beside her, thunder galloping with fierce determination. They leaned into the elements, navigating the tight turns with precision, their bodies moving as one with their horses. The first barrel approached. "Let's see if you can handle the pressure," Jake challenged, pushing Thunder ahead slightly. "Just watch me," Sarah shot back, urging Bella to gain speed. They rounded the barrel seamlessly, and her heart soared as they propelled themselves forward, clearing the next jump smoothly, but Jake was right on her heels, and as they entered the second half of the course, she sensed the shift in momentum. He took a tighter turn around the next obstacle, gaining an edge. "Not so fast," he hollered, a competitive fire igniting in his eyes. The energy in the air crackled between them, and as they approached the final stretch, Jake pushed Thunder forward with even more fervor, intending to steal the lead. Worry clawed at Sarah's insides. If she lost now, after all the build-up, it would feel like a crushing defeat. But determination surged through her as she leaned closer to Bella, whispering words of encouragement. "Come on, girl. Just a little more." With a powerful burst, Bella responded, surging ahead as they approached the last jump. The world shrank away, until there was only them horse and rider, propelled by a bond forged through countless hours of training and trust. "Let's go. Let's go!" Sarah shouted, feeling the wind rush past her cheeks. And in that triumphant moment, they leaped over the final jump, soaring through the air as if time stood still. They hit the ground running, their speed unstoppable. Sarah's heart raced in sync with Bella's thundering hooves, her senses heightened as she urged Bella toward the finish line. "Go! Go!" she yelled, determination lacing her voice. The field ahead opened up like a wide-open canvas, and she felt a mixture of joy and fear. But just as they neared the finish line, a sudden, unexpected sound pierced through the air, a loud crack from nearby. Startled, Bella hesitated, and Sarah fought to maintain her grip, every muscle in her body tensing. In a flash, her world tilted again, this time far more dangerously. The sound had startled other horses nearby, and chaos erupted as a few began to bolt, their riders struggling to maintain control. "Whoa, Bella. Easy, girl," Sarah shouted, trying to regain her balance. She could see Jake nearby, Thunder now locked in a standoff with a skittish horse. Panic surged in her chest. "No, don't." But before she could even finish her thought, Bella reared back again, startled by the commotion. Sarah gripped the reins desperately, trying to calm her down. "Hang on," Jake yelled, his voice mixing with the sounds of chaos around them. But the tension in the air heightened as their surroundings erupted into a frenzy. Fear surged within Sarah, a tidal wave threatening to pull her under. She had to act fast. "Bella, trust me." With all her strength, she leaned forward, urging Bella to move. The mare settled slightly, sensing Sarah's determination. "Let's keep going," Sarah whispered, her voice steady even as doubt crept into her chest. They surged forward once again, Bella powering through. Each stride felt monumental, every acceleration infused with battle-tested grit. As they crossed the finish line, cheers erupted from the onlookers. But all Sarah could focus on was the residual adrenaline coursing through her veins. Her heart pounded in triumph, a whirlwind of emotions ranging from relief to exhilaration mingling inside her. She had done it despite everything. They had crossed the finish line first. Jake came to a halt nearby, his face a mixture of disbelief and admiration. "That was insane. You handled that like a pro. I thought we weren't going to make it for a second," Sarah exclaimed, dismounting with shaky legs. But as soon as her feet hit the ground, the weight of the moment caught up with her. She felt lightheaded, adrenaline fading away only to be replaced by exhaustion. "I can't believe we did that." "Neither can I." Jake laughed, running a hand through his hair, the exhilaration radiant in his smile. "You absolutely crushed it, Sarah. I knew you had it in you." But before the celebration could continue, Sarah felt a strange tension lingering in the air. She could see Clara moving through the throng, shooting darting glances their way that sparked an unshakable feeling of unease. "Did you see that?" "People are really talking," Jake said, noting the energy of the crowd as they gathered around. "You may have just drawn the attention of the big leagues." "Big leagues?" Sarah echoed, hating the way her heart dropped into her stomach. "What does that even mean?" Jake shrugged, his eyes scanning the crowd. "It means that you're on their radar now, and with that kind of performance, you might find more in the spotlight than you bargained for." But in that moment, a wave of excitement washed over her. Yes, Clara's negative energy hovered, but Sarah had emerged victorious today, and nothing could take that away from her. Still, unease coiled within, twisting her excitement into something sharper. There was more to this competition than met the eye, and if she wasn't careful, it could turn into something that threatened not just her dreams, but the core of her very connection with Jake and with Bella. As the crowd started to disperse and murmurs of admiration filled the air, Sarah realized that this race had meant more than winning. It had been a test of her resilience, courage, and unwavering bond with her horse. But the road ahead was uncertain. You could taste the tension brewing, and she wasn't sure if she was ready to face it. "Hey," Jake said softly, breaking her thoughts. "No matter where this goes, you did it. You faced the challenge and came out on top." His words warmed her heart, grounding her amidst the whirlwind of emotions. "Thanks, Jake," she said, locking eyes with him. "Together we can take on anything, right?" "Exactly. Together." But as they stood there, the once clear path shifted, and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the true race was only just beginning. A thrilling blend of hope and anxiety coursed through her veins. They were riders, yes, but also dreamers, and in a world of competition, the uncharted waters ahead threatened to take them to places neither of them could imagine. The following weeks unfolded like pages in a thrilling novel, filled with sweeping triumphs and unexpected challenges. Sarah reveled in the exhilaration of her recent victory, but the mounting pressure began to seep into her mind. Clara's piercing gaze and whispered taunts now lingered in her thoughts, reminding her that success came with its own set of complications. As winter approached, daylight dwindled, and the chill in the air carried the promise of change. The barn was bustling, with preparations for an upcoming regional competition on the horizon. Sarah and Jake spent afternoons training, striving to perfect their techniques. Yet a whisper of unease always hung in the air, a shadow that seemed to grow with each passing day. One afternoon, as they practiced in the arena, Sarah noticed Jake unusually quiet. He was focused on Thunder, but something about his demeanor felt off. "You okay?" she asked, concern lacing her voice. "Yeah, just thinking," he replied, his brow furrowed as he guided Thunder over a series of jumps. "This competition is going to be tougher than the last. I want to make sure we're prepared. That's totally fair. It's going to be competitive, but we can take it on together," Sarah reassured him, echoing their sense of camaraderie. "With our teamwork, we can achieve anything." Jake nodded but seemed distant, as though a storm was brewing just behind his calm facade. The unease had become palpable, stretching between them like a taut wire, ready to snap. As the day of the regional competition approached, Sarah felt the weight of the world pressing down. She had worked tirelessly to prepare, practicing her routines and mentally visualizing each jump, but doubts crept in like shadows, tugging at the fabric of her confidence. Would she live up to the expectations? What if Clara, with her seemingly endless confidence, returned to taunt her again? The night before the competition, Sarah lay in bed, tossing and turning. She could hear moments of laughter and excitement from the barn filtering through her window. Most of the horses were already in competition mode, their energy crackling like electricity in the air. But all she felt was a looming dread, the anxiety coiling inside her like a snake ready to pounce. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore and slipped out of bed, heading to the barn for a midnight rendezvous with Bella. As she approached, the soft sounds of horses snorting and shifting in their stalls brought comfort. "Hey, girl," she whispered, her voice laced with trepidation. Bella looked up, her soft eyes holding a wisdom that grounded Sarah. "You and I are in this together, right?" The mare nuzzled her hand, as if understanding the gravity of the moment. Sarah smiled, feeling a flicker of courage ignite. Just then, she heard footsteps approaching. "Couldn't sleep either?" Jake's voice broke through the stillness, his silhouette framed by the barn's entrance. "Not a chance. Just wanted to check on Bella," Sarah admitted, her heart racing at the sight of him. Jake stepped closer, running a hand along Thunder's flank, his expression troubled. "I've been thinking about all of this," he said, gesturing toward the night sky. "What if we don't make it? What if everything falls apart?" She felt a pang in her chest, his words echoing her own fears. "We won't know unless we try, but I believe in us, Jake. More than anything, I believe in you." For a moment, they stood together, the weight of their shared dreams hanging in the air. Jake took a deep breath, as if preparing to admit something deeper. "You know, we've always pushed each other to aim higher. But what if we crash?" The question hung heavy, tugging at Sarah's heart. "Then we get back up again. That's what riders do." Jake regarded her intently, and for a brief second, she felt the tension lift. "You're right. Besides, I'd rather go down fighting than not try at all." The moment felt fleeting, yet monumental. They shared a smile, the bond between them tightening as they stood in the dimly lit barn, surrounded by the warmth of their horses. But as dawn approached, an unsettling chill crept back into Sarah's heart. The morning sun rose with a warm glow, yet the air felt charged, the calm before a storm. As they arrived at the venue, excitement rippled through them like a wave. Crowds gathered, horses whinnied in their trailers, and adrenaline coursed through her veins, thrilling yet nerve-wracking. "Just remember, stay focused," Jake said, breaking through her chaotic thoughts. They exchanged a determined nod before parting ways to prepare. As Sarah warmed up Bella, she felt the energy of the crowd filter through her, a mix of anticipation and apprehension. The tension in the air thickened, and her mind wandered back to Clara. What if she really was ready this time? When her turn came, Sarah held her breath as they entered the arena. The audience fell silent, their eyes fixated on her. As the announcer called her name, she could feel the weight of 1,000 expectations resting on her shoulders. With Bella beneath her, they glided into motion. The first jump approached, and Sarah's heart pounded, her focus sharp. As they cleared the obstacle, a boost of confidence surged through her, but just as quickly, doubt crept back in. Would they be able to maintain this energy? The routine continued, jumps and turns flowing seamlessly, and for a moment, she lost herself in the rhythm until disaster struck. As they approached a particularly high jump, another horse, spooked by an unexpected clap of thunder, bolted across the path. The sound echoed ominously overhead, a flash of lightning illuminating the arena. Time froze as panic surged through Sarah, jolting Bella into a startled jump of her own. "Whoa! Bella, easy!" Sarah screamed, adrenaline flooding her system. But it was too late. Bella stumbled midair, and Sarah felt her grip slip as they crashed to the ground. Everything exploded into chaos. The crowd gasped, horses whinnied in fright, and Sarah hit the ground hard. Pain shot through her body, and it felt like everything had gone dark. It was disorienting as she tried to regain her bearings, the world spinning around her. Fragments of voices began to emerge from the haze. "Get the medic!" came a voice, urgent and frantic. "Is she okay? Jake," Sarah called weakly, her heart racing as she searched for him through the chaos. A wave of pain surged through her body, and anxiety clawed at her mind. Was Bella okay? Amidst the blur of chaos, Jake appeared, his face a mask of concern. "Sarah!" He rushed to her side, kneeling beside her. "Stay with me. Just breathe." In that moment, the noise faded, drowning in an overwhelming sense of vulnerability that enveloped her. The pain was blinding, yet fear crept in deeper. What if this moment changed everything? What if she couldn't ride again? Heavy footsteps echoed around her as medics rushed forward, their voices fading in and out of focus. She felt something stabilizing her, perhaps Jake's reassuring presence. I'm here. You're going to be okay, he promised, his tone steady yet fraught with underlying fear. Tears pricked her eyes as the harsh reality pressed down on her. Bella, is she okay? She managed to croak, her chest tightening. She's fine, Jake assured, his eyes searching hers. I promise. Just focus on you right now. But even as he spoke, doubt seeped into her heart. The world swirled around her like a storm. In that moment of chaos, uncertainty crept in, gnawing at her resolve. With every ounce of strength, she fought to remain conscious, locking eyes with Jake, feeling the bond between them anchoring her in a sea of uncertainty. No matter what happens, I won't give up, she whispered fiercely. Neither will I, he replied, gripping her hand tightly. We'll get through this together. As the medics worked and the chaos unfolded around them, Sarah held on to that flicker of hope. There was still a race to be run, and no matter the outcome, she knew one thing remained steadfast. The connection they shared would outlast any storm. But in her heart, a deep fear loomed this moment might change everything. And sometimes, life's toughest challenges came disguised as the unexpected. As the world faded back to darkness, she clung to that thread of determination, ready to fight, ready to rise again.